Hey, welcome back. The tip for today is this. You need to set up your work environment so it's more conducive for you. And no one knows any better way to set up that work environment than you. So whether you're working from the home office or you're going into an organization each day or whatever that working environment is, you need to know how it's best conducive for you. So let me go through a number of things you'd consider. And as we go through these things, decide which element best suits you, and then how do we bring that element into your work environment? First thing to know about is noise, okay? And this isn't in any particular order. Now, I find the quieter, the better. So open plan environments, I tend to struggle with, especially when I'm doing really sort of intricate or focused work. So when I'm working, what I try and look for is a quiet area somewhere. So again, here's a tip. One place I was working at was lucky enough to have a library. So what I'd do is, if it was just general sort of work and I didn't need to be 100% focused to be able to perform that work, when I needed 100% focus, I'd wander off to the library and do the work in there and then come back to my desk. That's the other tip too. Get off your floor. If you can get onto another floor, I find I got disturbed less because people didn't know where I was. And I'm not looking at my emails during that time or whatever. So now I wasn't off the floor continuously, but the times I needed to be, when I needed 25 minutes of focus. When I talk about 25 minutes, what I found too is intense short spurts of work, intense short spurts of focus on work really worked well for me. So there's a technique called the Pomodoro technique. And I'll do another video on it later, but really high level, Pomodoro technique is when you're switching your focus on and off. And while it's on, for me, it was a 25-minute timer. So before I started that 25-minute timer, I'd decide what I'm focusing on for that 25 minutes, start the timer and go hard for 25 minutes on that piece of work. That by and large is the Pomodoro technique. To round out the half an hour, you take 5 minutes off. So here's another tip for a conducive working environment for you. What would you do during those 5 minutes off? For me, I needed a change of state. After 25 minutes of focused work, then I would spend 5 minutes going and having a quick chat to someone, finding out something I needed to find out, but face to face. If it was a break in the day, so in between lunch and going home, I might at that point, instead of having a 5-minute break, have 10 minutes and I hit the stairs. Lucky enough to be able to access stairs in the building, 302 stairs in the building I was in, and I would catch the lift to the bottom and take the stairs up or walk down and walk up. But yeah, change of state to use some stairs. Back to the noise thing. Forgive me if I mentioned this, I'm pretty sure I didn't, but I've started using earplugs as well, not in the working environment, but from my home office to just really shut things out. You might be experiencing what I am when you work from the home office, and that is usually there is a lot of traffic noise. So there's rubbish bins getting emptied, there's a house getting renovated down the road, there might be traffic noise, especially when there's sirens or something. I find with earplugs in, it just curtails all of those distractions for me. I also think about my food and I plan my eating, and that works around my Pomodoros. So I might have one meal and 4 Pomodoros later, which ends up being 2 hours, then I have another meal. So, and that helps me again with my work, because if I leave it to just random, just eating when I want to eat, then it can become a little bit distracting. 2 words there, distracting and disruptive to my day. So plan when you're going to eat. Again, with all these things I'm giving you, all you have to do is decide, hey, might that work for me or might it not? In terms of the Pomodoro technique, taking the breaks, using earplugs, getting into a quiet environment, let's talk about the desk setup, making sure that it suits you. There's two things I want to talk about with the desk setup. Now, I like a standing desk, and I fluctuate between standing and sitting. So certainly in the home office, I've got an electric desk that raises and drops. And some other places I've been at, they only had a standard desk. So I'd find a big box, throw my keyboard on that, raise up the monitor, and that would double as a standing desk. You can work around these sorts of things. That's one element. The other element is how clean do you want your desk to be? So pre-work prep, not to the point where it becomes procrastination and it stops you from doing good work. So instead of having a 2-hour window to do some good work, you're spending an hour and a half of that 2-hour window getting ready to do work. Prepping. That's procrastination. What I'm talking about is 5 minutes to get the working environment how you want it. For me, I like having a clean desk. If there's something I'm focusing on specifically over the next 2 hours, I want everything else out of sight. I don't have, here's another thing to consider, I don't have any pop-up notifications on my laptop, pops up on my screen, nor my phone at all. So those little emails that come through, messages, just anything, I have it all turned off. Now, in between my Pomodoros, that 5-minute window, then I'll look at something. If it's urgent, someone will phone me. If the phone rings, then it rings. But otherwise, all the other message pop-ups and everything, they're turned off. Again, for a working environment, I wear a smartwatch. It's by Garmin. Now, the reason why I'm sharing that brand is it's not like a Samsung linked to my phone, or for others it might be Apple linked to their phone. It's Garmin, and I use it primarily for sport. So that's why I'm mentioning it's a Garmin. So I don't use it for smartphone functions, and I've turned off all connectivity between my phone and my watch unless it's to do with my exercise. So when I finish a run, it goes through to my phone. So any messages or anything that pops up on my phone doesn't come through to my watch. So when the phone's on silent, that's it. Nothing else is distracting me. The other thing to think about is doing the right things at the right time. So what I've found too is what's good for setting up my work environment is making sure that I'm ready to go at 8 or 8:30 or whenever you start your day, which means if I'm doing physical exercise, it has to be early in the morning so I get back in time where I can have a shower, get ready, and get into the mindset of getting into the work day. There's a big difference for me if I plan to start at 8 and I end up starting at 8:40 or 9. Now, that's only an hour, maybe, but that throws me because I've got my day planned and I'm going to feel like I'm an hour behind, and I don't like that feeling. So again, for your working environment, is that important for you? Because if it is, then you don't want this, especially the start of the day. It can be quite, well, ask yourself, is that important for you? For me, it is. I like to feel like I've got a good start because it sets the rhythm and the feeling that I'm on top of things for the rest of the day. Okay, that was a boatload of things. Let me think, is there anything else I want to share? I've talked about nutrition and planning your eating around the workday. I've talked about the physical setup. So for me, a desk that raises and lowers, and making sure that the desk space is clean, that I've got specific things that I want to focus on. Nothing distracts me during the Pomodoro, so I've got all the notifications turned off, and I'm ready to go. Physically, because I've done my exercise, and I've made sure that that hasn't bled through into disrupting the start of my day. And I love working in a quiet environment, especially when I'm focusing on core tasks. So earplugs are working really well for me. And making sure that I've got access to a quiet environment when I'm working on site somewhere else. That's it. That's a starter for 10. So think about, and the reason why this is so important is if you have a working environment that's conducive for your working style, you're going to get more done. And that's what you want. That's the purpose of this. There's no point spending 8 hours in an environment if you're only getting 4 hours of work done. If you can get what feels like 16 hours of work done in 8 hours, then you're going to feel so much better about that. It takes the pressure off. It takes the pressure off. So it's about having control to take the pressure off. It's not about working yourself to the bone. And if you can do 16 hours of work in 8, then think about how you set up your working environment so it's that good that you can do 8 hours in 4. So yeah, you can get the day's work done in half a day. That's where we want to go with this, to free up your time to do other cool things. All right, that's it. Any questions you've got, put them in the comments and I'll answer them. I'll answer your questions. Any feedback, of course, I love it. If you hit like, if you hit subscribe, thank you. It does a world of wonders for me. Let's aim for 200 subscribers. Let's get there. And as you know, everything I share in these videos are proven. These are things that work for me. So they're not tools or techniques or concepts that I think are a good idea. They work for me, which is another reason why I specifically make these videos with those tools and techniques, to reinforce them for me, and gives you an opportunity to steal some things that worked for someone else, me, that could well work for you to make life easier, make life more simple, and to help improve performance. That's it. That's what these videos are all about. All right, thanks so much. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, bye.